Settle in, little ones. And you grown-ups too. Yes, you. This one is for all of you. In a small town called Mirabel, where the cobblestone streets curved like sleeping cats and the bakery smelled of cardamom every single morning without fail, there lived a man named August. August was a mapmaker. Not the kind who sat behind a desk with a computer, no. He was the old kind. The kind who walked every road himself before he drew it. Who pressed wildflowers into the corners of his maps as markers. Who wrote in such small, careful letters that you needed a magnifying glass to read the names of rivers. His maps were famous. People came from 4 countries to buy them. Sailors used them. Explorers framed them. One king, a real king, mind you, had one hanging in his bedroom. But August did not care very much about kings. He cared about one person. His daughter. Her name was Wren. She was 9 years old, and she had her father's dark eyes and her mother's loud laugh, and an absolutely catastrophic relationship with sitting still. Every evening, when August came home from his workshop smelling of ink and parchment and the ghost of faraway places, Wren would climb into his lap and say the same thing she always said. "Tell me somewhere new, Papa." And August would open whatever map he had been working on that day, and with his finger he would trace a road, a mountain pass, a river bend, a forest so dense no light reached the floor, and he would tell her everything he had seen. He always ended the same way. He would tap the edge of the map, the white, blank, unfinished edge, and say, "Here is where my map ends, little bird, but the world does not." The year Wren turned 10, August announced he was leaving. Not forever, just for the summer. A commission, his greatest one yet. A full atlas of the northern coastline, every cove and cliff and hidden harbour, for a shipping company that would pay enough to fix the roof, replace Wren's winter coat, and maybe, just maybe, take her to see the sea herself next year. "One summer," he said, kneeling down to her level, "I will write to you from every town, and when I come back, I will have a map of everything I've seen, and we will read it together, every road, every night, until you've travelled the whole coast without leaving your chair." Wren pressed her face into his coat and said nothing. Because she was 10. And 10-year-olds do not yet have words for the feeling of a summer stretching ahead of them, empty as an unmapped coastline, without the person who makes them feel safe. August did not come back at the end of summer. There was a storm. On the northern coast, the kind that comes once in a generation and rewrites the shape of the shoreline. August was not found. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Because the story does not rush past this. It never should. Some things deserve to be felt. Wren grew up. as children do, whether they want to or not. She became quiet where she had been loud, still where she had been restless. She did well in school. She helped her mother with the shop. She did everything right and felt nothing much at all. She never touched her father's maps. They sat in his workshop, which her mother had locked the year he disappeared and never unlocked again. Wren had a key her mother had pressed it into her hand on her 15th birthday without a word. Wren had put it in the bottom of a drawer and not looked at it since. You know what that drawer looks like, don't you? Every grown-up does. The drawer where you put the things that hurt too much to look at and too much to throw away. On the morning of her 27th birthday, Wren's mother became very ill. The slow kind of illness that moves in quietly and rearranges everything. The kind that means you must pack up a house, sell things, sort through rooms you have not opened in 17 years. Wren opened the workshop. It smelled of ink and parchment, exactly as she remembered. The maps were everywhere, rolled in tubes, pinned to boards, stacked in careful columns with labels in her father's tiny writing. Mountains she had never climbed, rivers she had never swum, forests she had only ever visited in the dark with a father's voice as her guide. And then, on the very last table at the back of the room, she found it. A map she had never seen before. Unfinished. One half drawn in her father's precise hand, the northern coast, every cove and cliff in perfect detail. And the other half, blank. But pinned to the center of the blank half, a letter. In an envelope, with her name on it. Soft inhale. He had left it before he went. All those years ago. He had left it, and neither of them had known it was there. Wren sat on the workshop floor and opened the letter. And this is what it said. My dearest Wren, if you are reading this, I am already gone, and you are already bigger than I can imagine. I am sorry I could not stay to watch. I have left you half a map. On purpose. The half I drew is the coast as I found it. The blank half is yours. Not because I could not finish it, because no map is ever finished by one person. I always told you, here is where my map ends, little bird. But the world does not. What I did not say, what I should have said every single evening, is that you are the world. All of it. The parts I mapped and the parts I never reached. You were never left behind, my love. You are where the map begins.
I drew the cliffs the color of morning. I named the rivers kings. After old kings, I mapped the roads that lead to nowhere, and all the small forgotten things. But every line I ever traced out led back to one place in the end. The edge of paper, edge of knowing, where only you could ever begin. So go, little bird, go further. Draw what I could never see. The world did not end at my edges, it was only just waiting for thee. I left you half a map and a lantern. I left you all the love I could find. The blank half always was your story, and you were always all of mine. So go, little bird, go further. Draw what I could never see. The world did not end at my edges, it was only just waiting for thee. 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 Waiting for thee.
Wren stayed on that cold stone floor for a long time. And then she did something she had not done since she was 10 years old. She went to her father's desk. She found his ink still there, still dark in its sealed bottle. She found his finest pen. And on the blank half of that unfinished map, in her own handwriting, not his tiny perfect letters, but her own wide uncertain ones, she drew the road from the workshop to the school she had attended. It was a small road, barely half an inch on the page. But it was hers. Now, I will not tell you that Wren became a great explorer, or that she travelled the whole northern coast and finished her father's work. Life is rarely that neat, and I promised you I would never lie. Over the following years, Wren filled that blank half. Not quickly, not dramatically, line by line, road by road. The walk she took the year she finally let herself grieve. The road she drove when she found out she was going to be a mother. The path through the park where she taught her own daughter to name the birds. And in the corner of the blank half, in the same tiny letters she had spent years trying to copy as a child, she wrote just 5 words. Here is where you begin. The map is still in Mirabel, in a glass case in the town's small museum, half in August's hand, half in Wren's. And if you look very carefully in the bottom corner of the blank half, you will see a third section. Just a few lines. A child's hand. Wren's daughter, who added her own road to the map when she was 9 years old. Because that is what love does. It does not disappear when the person leaves. It turns into a map. And the map keeps growing. Long after the hands that started it are still. So tonight, little one, and you, grown up, who thought this story was not for you, I want you to remember one thing. The blank half of the map is not emptiness. It is not loss. It is not the place where something is missing. It is yours. It was always only yours. Very softly. Good night. And draw something beautiful tomorrow.